Morning, guys. Don't forget that pitch is not an angle. Pitch is distance. No, is how far the move it in one complete revolution of the propeller. That's the pitch. Of course, the pitch of the depend of the angle of the blade, depend of the inclination of the blade. Now we are going to talk about those terms. Depend of the surface, the quality of the surface, depend of the drilling edge, if the drilling edge is bended or not. What happens if the drilling edge is a little bended or cracked? What happens when the flow of create pockets, and those pockets are air, produce bubbles, and the bubbles, with the speed of the propeller, the pressure increase, and the bubbles explode and eroded the metal over there. And this is cavitation. This is cavitation. Yeah. And what happens when the propeller, this is the water line, is working in conditions like this, with some part of the propeller out of the water? Ventilation. Produce ventilation. And the symptom is similar, eroded the blade of the propeller. But this is because ventilation, not because cavitation. That's okay? Great. That's very important about the propeller. And I mentioned that the pitch I mentioned that if you increase the pitch, per each inch that you added in the pitch, what happened with the RPMs?
200 is added.
200 lower. If I reduce the pitch 1 inch, what happened with the RPMs of the engine? Goes up. No, it's opposite. It's opposite. It's very, very common. It's very common that the customer, the captain, complain about the RPMs. The RPMs in my engine right now are higher or lower. What happened? And the question number one is, excuse me, you did service in the bottom of your boat recently? Yes, I visited the marina to paint the bottom, to replace the anodes, the sacrificial anodes. And excuse me, you replaced the propeller? Then I checked. Oh yes, we replaced the propeller. But the marina said that the propellers are exactly the same than the originals. My friend, I don't think so, because you have high RPMs right now. Probably they reduced the pitch. Let me check. Yes, the pitch is less. For that reason, I have higher RPMs. Or the pitch is higher. Okay? Now we are going to talk about that. What is the meaning of higher pitch, lower pitch, and in what situation I need to increase the pitch or reduce the pitch? What is the recommendation in those cases? This is the pitch line. And now we are going to talk about the rake of the propeller. Let me explain something about the rake. Okay. You see the inclination of the blades in a typical inboard propeller? It's practically 90 degrees with the shaft. No? You see? And you see the inclination of the blades in an outboard propeller? It's like a 60 degrees, no? With respect to the axis. This is the rake, this angle. This angle is the rake angle. In inboard propellers, the rake angle is practically straight.
Is that because the shaft is already angled?
Correct. It's because the shaft is inclined. And you compensate with this. Correct. That's perfect. In the outboard, the shaft is straight, and you compensate with this. That's that. Thank you. That's the explanation. Is the angle, the inclination of the blade with respect to the axis of the propeller. Simple. That's rake angle. You remember yesterday I talked about the leading edge in the propeller, in the blade. You remember? The leading edge is this portion. This is the leading edge. And what is the name of that portion?
Trailing edge.
The trailing edge. No? In the back. The leading edge. And you remember I explained in airplanes, they incline the leading edge to increase the lift, the sustentation, more lift. No? In marine propeller, this is not possible. For that reason, some propellers, especially outboard propellers, they come with a little inclination here. This is the cap. That small inclination at the end. You see? This is trying to simulate that inclination in the leading edge on the airplanes to increase the lift. In this particular case, it's not the lift, to increase the thrust. Yeah, those propellers, they have a little cup in this end, and this is the function. It's added curved lift on the trailing edge. It's not on the trailing edge, it's on the leading edge. That's okay? Please correct the paper.
Oh, that's wrong, right?
Yeah, it's on the leading edge. I make a mistake, I am going to correct the book. Alright, good. Okay. The hub. What is the hub? The hub is the center. Is the center of the propeller. Is where the blades are attached. In some cases, the propeller is cut exactly over there in the hub. When the captain hit the propeller with the ground, in some situation with rocks, it's cut over there. It's the center. It's the center of the propeller. If you have a crack on the blade exactly on the hub, it's garbage. I don't recommend repair the propeller over there. I don't recommend weld over there in that area.
Like right at the base of the blade.
Yeah. I recommend repair the blade. If the blade is bended, you can. But here, no. Finito. New propeller.
When you weld, doesn't that affect the balance?
When you repair the propeller?
Yes.
Yes. But remember, I explained in a short video that I have in the book, they have the dynamic balancer. I showed to you the machine. It's exactly similar to the balancer that you have in the tires of your car. They added pieces of metal. In this particular case, they don't add pieces of metal on the blade. They remove in the opposite blade a little amount of material until the balance is perfect, the dynamic balance. And the screen I showed in the video, the screen indicate where you need remove it. In the opposite blade, you need remove it 2 grams, 3 grams. They remove it material until the balance is perfect. Yes.
Just like grind some down
Yeah.
off the
Yeah.
base.
Yeah. Nice, no? It's a nice work. And in some cases, later we are going to talk about that. The captain complained about vibration. And you check the propellers, the blades lose in good condition. They lose great. However, they feel vibration. In that case, I recommend remove the propeller and balance the propeller. Doesn't matter if the propeller is in good condition, but it probably is unbalanced. And normally it's unbalanced. After you balance the propeller, you feel better the performance of the boat. Other possibility for that vibration, now we are going to talk about that, is a play on the shaft, or the shaft bended a little, and the shaft produce that.
Yeah, so I guess if you have like a really steady,
In those cases, is at some RPMs. In some range of RPM, you have more vibration. After that, no, You know, you are captain.
Yeah,
With the bend shaft, you're saying that it only shows up.
Correct.
Exactly.
I took a 65 recently up to DC, and we hit bottom in the sound, and we had a diver went down there and got a whole video of the prop. I dove down myself as well, just with goggles, and the propeller is in perfect condition. There is no bend. But after we pass like 1400 RPM,
you feel
the starboard engine dances, and we still
the
can't
starboard
figure it
engine,
out.
the
So
starboard side.
I think we have to remove the shaft and
Yeah,
check it.
yeah. Now we are going. This class is nice because it's a lot of topics that are real. Other scenario that we are going to talk later is about the frequency. All the rotating elements produce frequency, and internally in the boat you have a generator. The generator is a rotor spinning in front of the coils, no? Depending where you locate the generator inside of the boat, you can introduce vibration, harmonic distortion in the boat. If you locate the generator inside of the boat over the propeller here, the generator is spinning at 1800 RPMs. And this one is spinning in some cases at 1000, 1200. And you can create harmonic distortion in between both elements. Let me explain something. Later we are going to talk about that. I am a Latin guy. I am coming from Colombia. I dance salsa and merengue. Can I dance salsa and merengue with a Cuban lady? Yes, because they dance similar. Can I dance with a Venezuelan lady? Yes, because the music is pretty similar, no? Can I dance my salsa and merengue with a Russian lady? Probably is too much harmonic distortion. It's not frequency. It's not at the same frequency. That's other inconvenience, the location of the generator. But later we are going to talk about that. Oh, thank you, Danny. He's here. Oh, Danny, nice. Nice. Be careful with Danny. Dangerous. Okay, great. Yeah, this is the history about the frequency. There are a lot of possibilities for vibration. And it's a common complaint of the customer, a vibration in the boat for different reasons. Because the shaft, because the propeller, because the bearings here in the strut, internally, the bearings have too much play and produce vibration. Barnacles, a lot of barnacles in the propeller, and barnacles on the shaft, especially on the propeller, produce vibration. And this is a typical complaint of the captains. Vibration in some RPMs, in some range of RPMs. It's in the range where the harmonic distortion is maximum. In the other frequency is less harmonic distortion. Right? Okay. Other important thing is about the pitch and the diameter. Danny, can you help me with this? Yes. The pitch and the diameter. Look at this. The first number always is the pitch, and the second number is the diameter. In that particular case, that propeller is 4052. What is the meaning of that? 40 inches in pitch and 52. Excuse me.
40 inches
Excuse me. Diameter and pitch. Sorry. The first number is the diameter, and the second one the pitch. In the half. No, this is a mega prop.
It's a huge.
Thank you, Danny. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Don't forget this. Look at this. A propeller with high pitch push more water in each revolution than the other propeller with less pitch. Remember that the propeller is a pump. It's a pump of water. The propeller with higher pitch push more water. High pitch propellers tend to pull the boat sideways, especially during the docking, Captain. Propeller with high pitch.
I just want to say, just think about when you have your tires from your car and you put a bigger tire.
Yeah.
Your miles is different now. It's the same thing. The tire, the propeller is like a tire for a car. You know, so if you put bigger tires, like my buddy did, now he says he's doing 55 and he's doing 65. So because you got bigger tires, every revolution gets more distance. The same thing is, you get more volume with a bigger diameter prop than you do with a smaller.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows. That's just the example.
Danny, can you answer?
Yeah. Look at the next one.
Okay, don't forget, from now and in the future, we are going to talk a lot about the pitch and about the RPMs and about the frequency. The pitch is the most important number because different pitch makes the RPMs change dramatically. Higher pitch, the RPM reduce. Lower pitch, the RPMs increase.
Now, just talking about the pitch, you have props that are.
You remember the cup?
You can modify the props the same. Like you have, let's say I have this prop and it's a 17 pitch. It'll stay at 17 pitch, but you can cup it, change the edges a little bit. You can modify it. That's for the guy who's really into the high performance. Joe Schmo is just going out there going fishing. He doesn't give a crap if it's going fast. Well, he doesn't care if crap is going fast, but I mean, I have some customers that I have to give him like 10 different props because he's just looking and tweaking it and it's okay. You have that guy.
Danny, I have a question about the cup. It's very common in outboard propellers, no?
Yeah,
in
the more quality prop you have, the more cup you have. Cup just gives it a little bit more bite, a little bit more bite to it, less slippage. There's always a slippage, just not as bad as aluminum, but you still have slippage. Your cup just kind of gives it more of a bite.
Do the cups wear faster than the water?
No. The only reason props wear out is because you have a guy running through the sand. That's the guy who's gonna wear the prop.
Danny, the high performance boat, high speed boat, I don't know where I put my propeller.
The high speed boat competition boats are not there for the whole shot. If you notice, if you ever go to one of those big boat races, they're already moving before
It's
they
over
take
there.
off. Oh, here's a prop.
Danny, the high performance. I don't have experience in outboard high performance boat. I saw that they have a higher inclination.
Right.
The rake angle is less.
Correct.
And they have the cup up there.
As a cup, and then there's also one more feature that prop doesn't have.
Okay, this is for high performance. The rake angle is too low, too small. The inclination is more inclination. Okay.
So they also come with holes in the prop. What is the purpose of that holes? So if it's water, and now you add a little bit of air to the water, that means the prop's going to spin fast because it's now cutting through air and water. It's using exhaust to make it spin faster to get out.
To reduce the ventilation.
Yeah. This actually gets more
Get a little air.
Yeah.
air to help it spin faster to grab on. Now you have some.
Would that not increase cavitation?
No, reduce ventilation.
It'll give a little bit of ventilation, but like in those high big boats, if you gun it, it's just going to spin out. So they give a little bit of air just to help this move a little bit quicker. It's all about performance because we have the Evinrude has one that's really nice that actually has a little star screw that you can
Adjust the.
open quarter, half, and we play with. Like the guy that I know is just like Joe Schmo weekend.
Oh,
You don't care.
this is nice, the nomenclature of this propeller. If you can see, they say it's 14 and a half in diameter and 18 in pitch.
You're getting old. You gotta get your glasses on.
No, excuse me, 20 in pitch and 14 and a half in diameter here in the hub. And here is stamped the rake angle, Danny. 18,
Some have this.
18 degrees, the rake angle. They say rake angle over there. Rake angle over there, 18 on the surface of the propeller. Nice, no? That's the nomenclature in outboard propeller.
The propeller, man, is so just as important as that is, because it's just having the right prop that makes the difference.
Danny, in inboard boats, big boats, normally the captain have a couple of sets of propeller
Correct.
storage with different pitch for different situations.
One for
because-
more, like if they're carrying a big crew,
Correct.
they have one. If it's just going to do a long distance run, they use another one.
Correct.
So,
And exactly the same with the small boat.
nah, they just put the prop in one on because most guys that I deal with, there's only two speeds, slow and fast. Now the guy that's going to the Bahamas, he's trying to conserve fuel, he would do it in the mid range. But most people, man, they just get up and go. They just run to the spot. That's it. It's not like the same as the cruising. Those are you're cruising to places.
However, the procedure to replace the propeller is simple in outboards in
Oh,
comparison with the
definitely.
inboards. You need a diver in some cases to replace the propeller.
Especially if it's a 40 by 52. As soon as you pull it out, you're gonna go right to the
No,
bottom.
you need a
Buoy and ropes.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
You could change an outboard prop or even a stern drive prop or a small inboard prop like that. You can change in the water. It's a pain in the ass, but you can do it. But like one of those big props now.
No, I have a good video about that, the replacement of that propeller in the water. Danny, we are going to do that laboratory next week. We are going to replace propeller in an outboard with Danny and in inboard with the tool. We have the tool to remove the propeller. Okay. The propeller, don't forget, the RPMs increase or reduce in between 150 and 200 RPMs, depending if you increase the pitch, the RPMs are reduced. If you decrease the pitch, the RPMs goes up, okay? Okay, all right, it's exactly the same. Thank you. All right,
It's the same thing.
yeah, exactly, yeah, we explained that. Okay, good. Let me explain something about this. You remember that we talked about the gear ratio in the transmission, and normally in a inboard transmission, now Danny can talk and explain different in outboards, but in inboard transmissions, the gear ratios are in between 1.8 to 1 until 2.1, 2.2, maximum to 1. This is for inboard propellers. What about outboard then?
Outboard is usually 1.87, 1.47, depending if it's the bullet. It depends on the model.
In between 1.7 and...
I would say 1.47 all the way to about, you get to 1.87.
Okay, this is for inboard. This is for
In the
inboard.
inboards, you get to 2 to 1. Like,
Inboard. In outboard, in between 1.4 to 1 and until 1.8 to 1. That is
it's 8.7 to 1.
8.7. Okay.
That's on the outboards.
In outboard. All right. Great.
And then on the stern drives, you get 1.5 to 2 to 1.
In a string drive,
Yeah. And
in
there's
between 1.5 to 1
2 to 1.
to 2 to 1.
Some or more, depending on, it depends on the application.
Okay. Those numbers are important, my friends.
And also in transmission class, you're gonna have to tell me the gear ratio of the motor that you're working on. So you're gonna learn how to figure out this. Not every, if that stern drive's been painted with bottom paint, you're not gonna see what gear ratio. You're not gonna know what gear ratio you have. Or you gotta change the transmission because you blew the transmission. You need to get the exact same one because if you don't put the same gear ratio, then you gotta change the prop, compensate. So that's why you're gonna learn in transmission class. You guys are gonna figure out what gear ratio it is by counting the teeth on the pinion and the push.
If you want,
It's not hard. It sounds hard, but it's not. Everything sounds hard to you guys only because you don't know it. Once you know it, you're gonna be able to stop it.
Yeah, you can use.
And the same thing with outboards, anything that throws out the gear ratio. Yeah, we order tables, multiple
Yeah.
tables, so we'll have
We
tables.
order tables for if you want it. The coffee, you bring the coffee too. Okay, guys, let me explain something about the high pitch and low pitch and about the gear ratio because it's related. You remember in your car, how many people have a experience driving a car with a manual transmission?
Picture.
You remember you use the clutch and with the manual transmission. Okay. What happened in the first gear? In the first gear, what about the torque produced for the output torque in first gear? Is the maximum, no? The torque. And what about the RPMs in the first gear? Low RPMs. Okay, what about in second gear? The torque reduce and the RPMs increase. What about in third?
Higher
Less
RPM.
torque, high RPM. What about in 5?
Low torque.
In 5, in some cars, you have the letter D. You remember? Instead of the number 5, they have the letter D. What is the meaning of that?
Drive.
It's direct. It's direct. It's the same RPMs of the engine. Yeah. No reduction. No? It's direct in 5 or 6 in some cars. Okay. In first gear, high torque, low RPMs. Less torque, more RPMs. Less torque, more RPMs. In the last one is maximum RPMs and minimum torque. Exactly the torque of the engine. You understand? That's the function of the transmission. Reduce the torque or increase the torque and reduce the RPMs. That's the function. And protect the engine, protect the bearing. Later we are going to talk about that. Okay, that's the gear ratio. Okay. A propeller with lower pitch produce higher torque and less RPMs. Exactly the same like the gear ratio. A propeller with higher pitch produce higher RPMs and low torque. Everybody follow me? Oh, I want more speed. You need more pitch because you need more speed and less torque. Oh, I am going to convert this boat in a towboat. What type of propeller you need? Propeller with low pitch because you need the maximum torque. No, Danny. And a low pitch for high RPMs, high pitch for
Oh, no, low pitch or
Low pitch.
Low pitch for higher.
high RPMs.
High pitch.
Correct.
So high pitch is low RPM.
Yeah, correct.